And a breaking news update to tell you about today here at 5. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton has been indicted by grand jury. Sources say he is expected to turn himself in as soon as tomorrow. Bolton has been under investigation for an alleged unlawful handling of classified information. In August, FBI agents executed search warrants on Bolton's Maryland home and Washington, D.C. office. According to court records, the agents seized multiple documents labeled secret, confidential, and classified, including some about weapons of mass destruction. Sources previously said part of the Justice Department's investigation centers around notes that Bolton made to himself in an AOL email account about his activities when he was working for President Trump during his first term. Also developing tonight, earlier this afternoon, Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell fell again in Washington. Thanks for joining us. I'm Connie Leonard.
And I'm Doug Proffitt. McConnell's staff tonight saying that he's all good. Now, here's what happened. Take a look as he was making his way to the U.S. Senate to vote late this afternoon.
I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Now, as you can see right there, after getting up, he waves back to the reporter who was questioning him, and then he keeps on walking. McConnell spokesperson Stephanie Penn telling WHAS11 News tonight, quote, he's all good, went on to vote and voted again this afternoon on the defense appropriations bill, end quote.
And just 2 days ago, WHAS11 News covered McConnell in Louisville at the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, where he spoke about being diagnosed with polio.
Well, I was 2 years old when I got polio, so most of what I know about it, I was told by my mother.
And again, McConnell was being asked a question about immigration and customs enforcement actions today. He did not respond to that question.
Now, as you know, this is not the first time Mitch McConnell has fallen. His falls actually date back to 2019. He was injured during a fall in 2023 that resulted in a prolonged absence from the U.S. Senate as he was hospitalized. He also suffered 2 public freezes that year. McConnell has walked with a limp after overcoming polio at a young age. McConnell is set to retire from his decades-long political career at the conclusion of his term in January of 2027. In 2024, he stepped down from his role as party leader after a record-breaking 18 years at the helm of the Republican conference. Now, more of our top local stories here for you at 5. An abandoned house fire in Louisville's Parkland neighborhood turned deadly today.
1 person died inside, 2 more went to the hospital with injuries. The vacant home caught fire shortly before 7 this morning on South 31st Street. That's right off West Broadway and close to the new Norton West Louisville Hospital. And
that's where our Ian Hardwitt and chief photojournalist Philip Merle find that it took all day to keep the fire from reigniting.
Firefighters pulled a lot of debris out of the original abandoned house that caught on fire here on 31st Street. They spent most of their day after the fire was out by about 8 o'clock putting out hot spots, making sure the flames didn't come back. The deadly house fire spread from an abandoned property on the left to a rental house next door on the right. Firefighters found 1 person dead inside the house that originally caught on fire. They rescued 2 more from the back porch and sent them to the hospital. Codes and Regulations visited the house 79 times over the last 13 years, most recently on June 10th, and inspectors cited the property owner for a basement window that had its boarding ripped off. A yellow notice from Codes and Regulations now calls for the burnt building's emergency demolition, which some neighbors have wanted for years.
Codes and Reg does a really good job of, identifying those vacant structures and boarding those up. But if you see one that is not, make that call so they can get done and hopefully protect that property and yours.
Louisville Metro Arson is still looking into how this fire actually got started in the first place. Meanwhile, the Louisville Fire Department warns against fires that start in abandoned homes like these because the department usually doesn't find out about them until they've already spread to other homes before firefighters can even show up on scene. In Louisville, I'm Ian Hardwitt for WHAS 11 on your side.
Now, we checked, and the city had over $43,000 worth of liens filed against the property for code violations. It is owned by an out-of-state LLC. Metro Louisville has a program to forgive these liens so that the houses can be sold and renovated, but that requires the owners to sell.
There's no question that it is concerning if a trade deal does not get done with China. But we have to work on the rest of the world's economy and the trade that we're doing there to get some of this out of the marketplace.
Well, in Lancaster, Kentucky today, south of Lexington, the state's top agriculture official says Kentucky farmers are feeling the pinch amid the trade war with China. The Chinese have largely stopped buying American soybeans, leaving Kentucky farmers scrambling to find other buyers. Well, Republican Jonathan Schell says he is working with the Trump administration in D.C. to get financial relief for Kentuckians.
Our Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton went to Lancaster, Kentucky today to talk to Schell one-on-one at his Garrett County farm.
This is our corn that we've got. We raise somewhere, depending on the year, 70 to 100 acres of silage corn for our cattle that we do.
Kentucky's Agriculture Commissioner Jonathan Schell walks me through his family farm in Lancaster, nearly 2 hours from Louisville, where they raise cattle and grow corn and pumpkins.
35 acres of pumpkins.
Few people, if any, in the state have a better sense of the challenges Kentucky farmers are facing right now. And there's one figure that Commissioner Schell gave me that pretty much paints the picture.
Let's just say you've got about 7,000 acres of corn and beans that are out there. This year, on average, you're looking at, best case scenario, losing $1 million on your farm. And with some of the yield numbers that we see out there, it could climb up to double that to $2 million in losses.
Farmers across the country are grappling with the loss of their primary importer of soybeans, China, as the country retaliates over President Trump's tariffs.
Pressures that our farmers are feeling is real. And the situation that we're in on the farm from a profitability standpoint is at a critical level that we've not seen in a very long time.
Schell says he supports the president's fight for a fair, long-term trade deal.
And I think they're doing the right thing. They're working towards a solution on this to make sure that we're holding China's feet to the fire.
But he also acknowledges Kentuckians are feeling the pain. He says he's working with the Trump administration to ensure the federal government steps in and helps in the meantime.
And there's going to have to be some short-term relief put in place. The White House, Secretary Rollins, they know that. We've had those discussions very intimately with them.
On a local level, Schell has a big goal to help Kentucky public school districts source more of their food from within the state.
Breakfast, they purchase with $3.75. Lunch, they purchase with $4.85. If we go from 4% to 25% over a period of time, we're talking about not just millions of dollars, but hundreds of millions of dollars in local impact in local economies across the state of Kentucky.
Our Sky 11 drone shows harvest season in Kentucky, with those doing the work on the ground hoping for a clearer economic picture by the time they plant next spring. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
And coming up tonight on WHAS 11 News at 6, Schell talks about farmland also under pressure as data centers are looking to build in Kentucky.
Big controversy there, of course. Also new tonight, President Donald Trump says he and Russian President Vladimir Putin do plan to meet again to talk about the war in Ukraine. The White House says the two spoke today ahead of Trump's in-person meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tomorrow in the White House. In a social media post, President Trump calling it a productive conversation and said that he and Putin would eventually meet again in Budapest, Hungary at an unspecified time.
Well, in excellent news today, what about this weather?
Perfect. Right? I tell you, this could be Monday with that sky standing behind. Matt Breland joining us here. He's in for Mallory. And so, Matt, taking a look in here into to next week is when the temperatures could go down into the 30s.
That's right. Yeah, I think we're going to get closer and closer to that cool down that we've been waiting for. That's right. But we're not there just yet. We're still in a pattern where we're seeing these mild evenings for us. You'll notice the blue skies around, lots of sunshine all throughout the day. That's got our temperature right at 72 degrees with winds out the northeast at 5 miles per hour. And this view is brought to us by the Shriners Children's Hospital in Lexington. Satellite and radar continues to stay quiet with us. You'll notice that earlier this afternoon, a few clouds tried flowing in from southern Indiana. Those quickly dissipated as soon as they encountered a lot of this steady dry air that's in place for us here in Kentucky. Now, as we go later on into our evening hours, those northeast winds are still going to continue to keep us quiet and dry. We'll see temperatures ranging in between the upper 50s and the lower 60s, and then we're cooling down tonight, with temperatures likely reaching the upper 40s and the lower 50s just before we hit that 7 a.m. hour tomorrow. Clouds will begin to grow in our skies as we head throughout our Friday afternoon and Friday evening. I'm expecting more overcast conditions to arrive with us. So we are going to be headed into a bit of a cloudy trend for Friday, and then rain chances are back in the forecast for the weekend. So enjoy the quiet evening that we have with those temperatures in between the upper 40s and lower 50s. Tomorrow, a quiet start to the day with temperatures in the lower 50s, and then more clouds develop throughout the afternoon with temperatures into the lower 70s. We do have a weather impact alert day for the weekend. We're going to continue keeping you updated with all the details regarding this upcoming storm system. Doug, Connie?
All right, thank you, Matt. Today, Mayor Craig Greenberg nominated Louisville's Inspector General Ed Harness for another 4-year term. The Office of Inspector General is an independent agency that investigates complaints against and reviews the practices and policies of LMPD. Harness has served in that role since 2021, establishing it after the office was created in 2020. Now, Greenberg says it's been a key office for the community since the DOJ dropped Louisville's consent decree earlier this year. Harness says during his first term, he spent a lot of time just trying to get the office up and running. But during his second term, he'll look to other issues.
A community is a group of people bound by a common purpose. Our purpose is a safe and prosperous Louisville. Constitutional policing creates a safer Louisville. I pledge every day to work toward a safer Louisville for all.
And while the mayor can reappoint Harness for another term, it still needs to be approved by the Louisville Metro Council. The same person can serve in this role for up to 3 terms.
Now to the change of school boundaries in eastern Jefferson County. JCPS is going to hold 2 community information sessions regarding proposed boundary adjustments impacting Echo Trail Middle School, which is near the parklands of Floyd's Fork. The district wants to redirect some students who reside in the current Echo Trail neighborhood over to Crosby Middle School in Middletown due to overcrowding that isn't expected to get any better. But many parents have been telling us they're not happy about it. The sessions will take place on Monday and Tuesday of next week from 6 to 7 p.m. at Eastern High School in Middletown. Monday's event will also be streamed live, by the way, on the JCPS YouTube channel.